welcome back to the Wise Mindset Guy podcast. I am your host, Nat Palestino, and I thank you once again for tuning into my show. Today, we'll be diving deep on what top daily habits you can use to optimize your life. Now, changing our habits is difficult to do since it requires a lot of discipline and thinking outside the box. We often believe there is nothing wrong with us, so why change? However, I always believe there is room for improvement. We do not need to bombard ourselves with changing everything at once, so little baby steps is the way to go. Some daily improvements, even if it's just 1% better every day, will produce game-changing results over time. So here's some of the things that I listen to many mentors on podcasts and they recommend in their daily routines. And here's the first hard one. Getting up early. Oh yes. The idea of not sleeping in. Wow. These things can send shivers down people's spines. However, the first hour of your morning routine sets the tone for the rest of the day, affecting your mindset and productivity. Early rising can allow you to do the tasks that you are not able to do during your busy workday. It has been well documented that many of the most successful people are early risers. My alarm is set for 5 a.m. Now, when we get up early and are still sleepy, it is the perfect time to meditate, since it is closer to the theta state, which is similar to the dream state. By focusing on our breathing, we can then empty our minds, which will give us more clarity. More clarity means less thoughts racing in our heads and better focus on our daily tasks. Meditation has been linked to many health benefits, including reduction in stress and lowering of blood pressure. Meditation has been around for thousands of years. I'm sure that in that amount of time, it has had some improvement in people's lives. So give it a try. Remember that meditation can be done either in the morning or at nighttime. It is important about breathing. Remember, we breathe, we have at least 15 to 20,000 breaths per day. So we should make them count as best we can. So what we can do is we can use a method where we breathe in, we hold our breath just for a few seconds, and we have a long exhale. Breathing in through your nose, let's say for 5 seconds, hold for 7 seconds, and then slowly exhale for about 8 to 10 seconds. So one of the best ways to kill stress, especially before bed. Another thing we can do is exercise. We have all heard over the years that being physically active helps manage our weight, reduces the risk of diseases like diabetes, and strengthens bones and muscles. But what about brain health? New finds in neuroscience have come across a key molecule called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF for short. The molecule is released when we sweat during exercise. BDNF helps to build brain cells and even repairs old brain cells damaged by stress. This factor has a major effect on memory and brain power, something we can all strive for. Another thing we can do is avoid distractions. Electronic devices have become an integral part of our lives. However, it becomes a major distraction which can interfere with our motivation, since it is so easy to get sucked in. All the social media feeds, emails, and irrelevant news feeds shortens our attention span, which ultimately distracts us from our major goals. Nobody is saying to completely ditch the device and throw it in the garbage completely, but more along the lines of reduced use. Another benefit to our morning routine is reading. The benefits of reading are broad, which include improve brain connectivity. It increases your vocabulary and comprehension, lowers blood pressure and heart rate, combats the symptoms of depression, and also reduces our stress levels. You know, most people say, well, I don't have time to read. Well, a recent study showed that the average CEO reads about 60 books per year. Now you're thinking an executive or a CEO are extremely busy. CEOs and executives are extremely busy, probably more busy than the average person. But because they have to run major corporations. And yet, they understand the fundamental importance of continuous learning. Now, another aspect is nutrition and hydration. Now, even though I am not a nutritionist, it is very easy to understand the many health benefits of better eating and hydration. Your body needs to be hydrated to perform at its best. Water itself is preferred, but all liquids have an essential function of providing our bodies with better circulation and valuable nutrients. What we eat is just as important. This can be challenging because based on our culture, where we live in different parts of the world, and availability of certain foods. However, if we are more aware of our choices, then we can do the research in finding what nutrient dense foods are healthier for us. Better nutrition means better living in the long run. Now, another thing that a lot of mentors that I've listened to talk about is practicing gratitude. Showing gratitude is an effective tool for mind, body, and soul. Whether it's a good or bad day, taking the time to be thankful has its overwhelming benefits. It avoids negative emotions from building up from the inside. It also helps us actively relax and eradicate tension. This creates also clarity on what matters most in life instead of dwelling on external factors. We can also build on our creative side, especially if we journal about gratitude. Now, in terms of being grateful, we can learn to reflect using a journal, and we can ask ourselves simple questions. We can say to ourselves, what happened to me today that I am thankful for? Which actions have moved me towards my goals in life? And are there any changes I can make to better improve myself and be more thankful? These questions are important. I love these questions because they can help us have a balance between gratitude and self-improvement. Now, another thing we can also do is nature walking. We spend so much time indoors, whether it be at work or at home, that we forget about the whole different world outside. There is a whole different world outside. Just breathing in the fresh air and being close to nature really helps us get back to our roots as human beings. The serenity of nature brings peace. It allows us to quiet our minds and just bathe in the natural beauty that sometimes we take for granted. So go outside and enjoy. Please remember that the things I talked about on this podcast are basically guidelines to accelerating our routines to build a better life for ourselves. These habits are practiced by some of the world's best mentors. And we have to always find what works best for us. Hopefully, it will spark some drive in your life as it does for me. Well, that's all for today. I thank you once again for joining me on today's episode. I would have the most utmost gratitude if you would subscribe to this podcast. If this episode touched you in any sort of way, please share it with a friend or family. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Remember, everyone, stay positive, be well. We'll see you guys again later. Bye for now.